Oi girls and boys and everything in between, it's Ace Trainer Liam back with another episode of Form Fight. Form Fight is a series where we take a look at a Pokemon with more than one form and we have a look at the differences between those forms to work out which one of them really is the best. And so we can see these Pokemon in action on the battlefield, we also have a Metronome battle just for a little bit of fun, just for fun. If you're a fan of the Form Fight series and you're ready for more, hit the like button to show that you love this series and also hit the subscribe button if you're new so that you never miss an episode of Form Fight. But of course, with all that out of the way, let's have a look at today's challenges. In today's episode, we're going to be comparing the three forms of Lycanroc: Midday, Midnight, and Dusk. Lycanroc's pre-evolution Rockruff only has one form, and can evolve into Lycanroc starting at level 25. In Pokemon Sun or Ultra Sun, a Rockruff that is level 25 or over, leveled up during the day, will become Lycanroc Midday. In Pokemon Moon or Ultra Moon, a Rockruff that is level 25 or over, leveled up during the night, will produce Lycanroc Midnight. And finally, in Pokemon Ultra Sun or Ultra Moon, a special Rockruff with the Own Tempo ability, leveled up between 5 PM and 5:59 PM if you're playing Ultra Sun, or 5 AM and 5:59 AM if you're playing Ultra Moon, will become the newest form, Lycanroc Dusk. Those are some very specific requirements, but why don't we take a look at the differences between these three forms. The Pokedex tells us that both Lycanroc Midday and Lycanroc Dusk each stand at 0.8 meters tall, whereas Midnight, on its hind legs of course, stands at 1.1 meter tall. And each of these Pokemon forms weighs 25 kilograms exactly. Midday's Pokedex entry tells us its quick movements confuse its enemies. Well equipped with claws and fangs, it also uses the sharp rocks in its mane as weapons. When properly raised from a young age, it will become a trustworthy partner that will absolutely never betray its trainer. For Lycanroc Midnight, it says the more intimidating the opponent it faces, the more this Pokemon's blood boils. It will attack with no regard for its own safety. It goads its enemies into attacking, withstands the hits, and in return delivers a headbutt, crushing their bones with its rocky mane. And finally, for Dusk form, bathed in the setting sun of evening, Lycanroc has undergone a special kind of evolution. An intense fighting spirit underlies its calmness. This strange form is the result of its evolving at dusk. It is very rare in Alola. In terms of appearance, these Lycanroc forms are all very similar, taking on a wolf-like appearance, with Midday being the sleeker, faster-looking form, and Midnight looking bulkier and somewhat fluffier, although we kinda know that's more rock than fluff, of course. Dusk form, as expected, is very much a mix of the two, adopting Midday's body shape but combining it with the mane of Midnight form. In their shiny forms, they all take on the blue coloration that Rockruff itself adopts, although Midday's is closer to the same shade as Rockruff, with Midnight having a much deeper, darker blue. And of course Dusk taking on that same shade so as to look like a mix of the two other forms. Now let's have a look at their typing, weaknesses, and resistances. Now all three Pokemon, whether you agree should be the case or not, are all pure rock types, making them all weak to fighting, ground, steel, water, and grass type moves, and resistant to normal, flying, poison, and fire type attacks. And whilst they have no immunities, it should be worth noting that these Pokemon, as rock types, are immune to sandstorm damage. And with that, let's take a look at the stats and abilities of these Pokemon. Lycanroc Midday is a typical glass cannon. Its HP, defense, and special defense give it very limited staying power. However, it does have good enough attack and speed stats to dish out some quick damage. Its primary ability is Keen Eye, which prevents Lycanroc Midday from having its accuracy lowered and also makes Midday ignore changes in the opponent's evasiveness. Its secondary ability is Sand Rush, which doubles Lycanroc Midday's speed during a sandstorm. This is pretty handy for allowing Lycanroc to beat the handful of Pokemon it's outsped by to the punch, allowing it to rely less on a Cell Rock and more on Stone Edge. Let's also not forget that during a sandstorm, Lycanroc's special defense increases by 50% whilst the sandstorm is there because it's a rock type. Although as well, do remember that Lycanroc doesn't actually have access to the move Sandstorm, and therefore it can't set this condition up itself, so you'll need an ally or an opponent to bring the sand. Lycanroc Midday's hidden ability is Steadfast, which increases Midday's speed by one stage each time it's made to flinch. This can be a useful ability since, as we said with Sand Rush, giving Midday's decent speed a little boost can make it a much more formidable Pokemon. However, when it comes to Steadfast, the only real opportunity you're going to get to react to flinching is if someone uses Fake Out, since most other moves that will be used on Lycanroc that could flinch it will probably one-shot it anyway. When it comes to Lycanroc Midnight, it does have the same attack stat as Midday, but trades in the speed for a little bit more bulk, but only a little. Certainly not enough to keep it safe from hydro pumps, earthquakes or solar beams. It shares the same primary ability as Midday, Keen Eye, however its second ability is Vital Spirit, which prevents Lycanroc Midnight from being put to sleep. Its hidden ability is No Guard, which makes it so all moves used by or against this Pokemon cannot miss. This is fantastic for Midnight from an offensive point of view, since No Guard Stone Edge is an absolute blessing. But this ability is also kind of a curse from a defensive standpoint, since it gives Midnight no way of avoiding Hydro Pump or Iron Tail. Looking at Dusk form, its stats are remarkably different from the other two forms. It's almost like a completely different Pokemon. No, I'm actually lying. Its stats are exactly the same as Midnight's, except 2 base power is taken off the speed and put onto attack. Way to be creative, Game Freak. This form of Lycanroc gets only one ability, and that is Tough Claws, which increases the power of Lycanroc Dusk's contact moves by 1/3, which gives it access to Thunderfang and Firefang with 87 base power, Accel Rock with 53 base power, Crunch with 106 base power, but most importantly, Lycanroc Dusk's Thrash, which it learns upon evolution, gets a whopping 160 base power thanks to Tough Claws. That is insane! Now it's time for me to decide which of these 3 Lycanroc forms I prefer. Now personally I lean towards Lycanroc Midday because I just like the way it looks more natural, I like the way it looks more like an animal, I like the way it doesn't look like a werewolf like Midnight does, but of course I can't deny the fact that Dusk form, even though its stats aren't that much different from Midday, obviously has more attack power because of its Tough Claws ability. But then again, saying that, I just prefer how Midday looks, because even in its shiny form, it looks like Garurumon from Digimon, which I thought was really cool. And ultimately with Dusk form, I like my Lycanroc to not have a Donald Trump tan, personally. But of course it's not just up to me, it's up to you guys as well. But before you make any decisions, let's see these Pokemon on the battlefield. It's time for the Metronome battle, and today we're doing it a little bit differently. With this Pokemon having 3 different forms and us not having access to triple battles because we're in Generation 7 now and triple battles don't exist anymore, we're going to have to do it in 2 stages. We're going to have the originals, Midday versus Midnight, and the winner will go on to face the new form, Dusk form, to see who comes out on top. Oh, just a friendly reminder, try not to take the Metronome battles too seriously. I figured it was pretty obvious that a move that these Pokemon can't learn, that is a completely luck-based move, would never be able to determine which of these Pokemon is the best. But you'd be surprised by the number of people in the comments whose favourite didn't win, and therefore have gotten really upset about whether the Metronome battle is a good measure of this Pokemon's ability. Dude, it's just a game. Let's have fun, okay? Do you know how to have fun? Let's have fun. Before the battle, I will just point out these Pokemon have max IVs in all stats, 0 EVs in all stats, they're not holding any items, and they all have their hidden abilities. They're all the same type, so we don't have to worry about the types, and it's just really their base stats and kind of their abilities that are going to be the factor as to which Pokemon gets an advantage or a disadvantage. The rest, of course, is all up to the Metronome. Let's go. Here it is, Lycanroc versus Lycanroc, Midnight versus Midday, the original 2 Lycanroc forms facing off for the opportunity to face Dusk form, the new form. Of course, Lycanroc Midday is the faster of the 2, so we're going to see them open up this contest. As we see Fusion Flare, going to be not very effective being a fire-type move, but a beautiful spectacle to behold nonetheless, as we see a tiny little bit of damage on the regular Midnight. Here's Shiny Midday, what's it bringing to the table? What are we going to see? A Clamp! Now that is going to be super effective on that Shiny Midnight form. Does quite a lot of damage, also is going to hurt Midnight Lycanroc every turn following this. We see regular Midnight going for a knockoff. Going to be a nice bit of neutral damage. Of course, no held items on these Pokemon, so they're not going to take considerable damage from a knockoff. We see Shiny Midnight with the Mud Slap. That is super effective, but does not have a lot of base power behind it, but of course will affect the accuracy, as these are steadfast. Hidden ability Lycanroc Middays as opposed to Keen Eye, the primary ability. And there we see that clamp damage at the end of the turn coming into play. That's going to come into play for a few more turns after this one. Here we see Midday with the Smelling Salts, not very effective, but a little tiny bit of chip damage, enough to bring Midnight past the halfway point of its HP. And here we see regular Midday going for a super effective Bullet Punch on the regular coloured Midnight form. It's not looking good for Team Midnight at the moment. How are they going to respond? Shiny Midnight coming out of the gate right now with Flare Blitz. Again, not very effective being a fire type move, and you are going to take a little bit of recoil damage, although it did do considerable damage to the regular Midday. And here we see regular Midnight. How's it going to respond to the previous onslaught? Going to go for Wonder Room and switch everybody's special defense and defense stats. Now's not really the time you need to do something like this. And there we see the Clamp taking a little bit more of an effect. Shiny Midnight really is in trouble at this point. It's definitely Midday that currently has the advantage. We see Light Screen, so Midday is going to increase their special defense. How does that work with Wonder Room? Go and ask Cerebi, because that's a complicated one, because the defense and special defense has been switched, but then Light Screen has affected the special defense. Who knows? But we see a bulk up increasing the attack and the defense of the regular Midday, and here we see Midnight's turn to answer to those previous moves. We get a Barrage, which, let's just appreciate the fact that moves like Barrage and Fury Swipes have had their speed increased in this generation, so we don't have to sit and wait through such a long onslaught. They're a lot smoother, a lot quicker now. And we see regular Midnight going for Gust, which again, not a very effective move. Midnight really need to up their game if they've got any chance of clawing back a victory. But let's face it, as we see more of that clamp damage happening, it's not looking good for any of the Midnight Pokemon. It's all been Midday from the get-go. Here we see Round, that's not very effective, but they don't need to use very effective moves on the Midday side anymore because Midnight is pretty screwed at this point. Here we see regular Midday coming out with a Grass Knot. That's going to be super effective. Oh my gosh, that's got to be. That is a knockout on the shiny Midnight. Oh my goodness. It's all over for Midnight, isn't it, really? Poor Midnight, what's it gonna do? It needs something really special like an Earthquake. It goes for an Echoed Voice. That's not gonna do a lot of damage at all. Tiniest little bit of damage on the shiny Midday there. This is not looking good for Team Midnight Lycanroc. Here we see Midday. What's it got for us? Floral Healing! It's gonna heal! It's gonna heal the Midnight form. That's incredible. It's actually going to restore Midnight's HP back up to maximum. The paradigm of this battle has just completely switched. I mean, it's still 2-on-1, but that was incredible. Here we see a Discharge. That's going to damage both Midday Lycanroc, who gets paralyzed, and Midnight Lycanroc, who also gets paralyzed. My word, this has taken quite the turn. So Midnight now responding. It's not paralyzed. It's able to use Grass Pledge. Oh my goodness. That takes down the regular Midday. It's now regular Midnight versus shiny Midday, and oh my goodness, this, apart from the paralysis, this is a pretty even match right now. I mean, Midday always had, there's a Sky Attack, that's going to be a 2-turn attack. Midday always has the speed advantage. It's just if that paralysis comes into effect. So Midnight's fully paralyzed and can't capitalize on that wasted turn. Oh, Wonder Room has worn off as well. Oh, wow. So we know Sky Attack's going to happen for some not very effective damage onto Midnight. But Midnight still has a chance. See, that Sky Attack didn't do much at all because it's not very effective. How is Midnight responding to this? It now has such a great advantage. Rock Smash, my goodness. That's incredible. Didn't see the defense drop, but the light screen's worn off from the Midday side as well. Oh my word, how did Midnight end up in an advantageous position right now? There's a Dark Pulse. You gotta know that Midday's hoping for a flinch. Doesn't happen. Midnight escaping the paralysis, going for a Metronome, gonna go for Clear Smog. That won't be very effective, but any damage is better than no damage in these final turns of this battle. Both Pokemon are under half health at this point, with Midday seeing the worst of it at the minute. Going for Grass Knot. Oh my goodness, this has got to be over. Surely. My word, it doesn't even do that much damage compared to the Grass Knot that we saw that took down the other Midnight. That's lucky is what that is. Aura Sphere, my goodness. This is going to decimate, especially with that light screen worn off. Oh my, 2 HP! Midday hangs on with 2 HP. What in the world is happening right now? Going for Iron Deluge and nothing happens. Midnight can't capitalize because it's paralyzed. Oh my goodness, I'm on the edge of my seat right now. This is incredible. Midday, what's it going to do? Goes for Dragon Pulse. Oh my goodness, this has got to be the end of this battle. This is incredible. It didn't even knock it out. Midnight's responding. The paralysis is not even taking effect at this point. Goes for Baton Pass. What a waste of a turn. Baton Pass is useless. There's no teammate to switch to. Midday comes in with Struggle Bug. Oh my god, that's it. That's got to be over. Midnight taking the fall. Midday survives on 2 HP. How have they done this? Midday is going on to face Dusk form in the final of this contest. That was incredible. Oh my. And here it is, we have Midday versus Dusk, the battle of the Lycanrocs. The speedier Lycanrocs have prevailed, and here we have both the Dusk forms coming out looking absolutely beautiful there. Oh, here we go. Midday is the slightly faster of these two, of course, because there's a barrier going to increase the defense sharply from the get-go. Of course, Dusk form has slightly lower speed, but slightly increased attack compared to Midday forms. Other than that, it's a pretty even playing field. Here's Defog, going to reduce the evasiveness, I believe, of the shiny Dusk form. And here we go. It's Dusk's turn to respond with those lovely glowing eyes. Superpower! Oh my word, that's going to be quite a strong attack. Oh my god! It just eliminated regular Midday from the get-go, lowering its own attack and defense, but my word! Dusk form from the get-go! It's 2-on-1 already and it's only been one turn. Here's a Brick Break! Oh my goodness, all the fighting type moves are coming out. Not quite halfway through Shiny Midday's HP, but oh my goodness. Midday has the deck stacked right now. Goes for Confuse Ray. I mean, that may help, but you really need to go with some offensive moves right now. As we see the confusion take effect on regular Dusk, who's going to try and attack, and gets hit by the confusion damage. So that's probably about the luckiest that Midday's going to get. But we see Shiny Dusk going in for the attack with Constrict, not going to do a lot of damage. That was quite lucky on the part of Shiny Midday, who really has the deck stacked against it right now. Won the last battle, was the surviving member, goes for an Aqua Tail on the Shiny Dusk form, who had the defense lowered, and therefore is knocked out in one hit. My god! This is brilliant! So now it's back down to 1-on-1 as Dusk form hits itself in confusion. These two Pokemon, and don't forget that Midday has increased defense by 2 stages, so it pretty much is at double defense at the moment. Goes for Amnesia, is going to raise its special defense, I believe, sharply as well. There we go, so it's now at +2 defense and +2 special defense, so it really does have the advantage at the moment. Dusk form, what are you going to do, Dusk form? How are you going to respond? Goes for Psychic Fangs, which is going to do... Oh, wow, that did a lot more damage than I thought it would do, but I still got to give it to Midday because it really does have the defense and the special defense advantage right now. Goes for Rototiller, which does nothing, of course, because there are no grass types on the field. And what do we see? Confusion. Avoided the confusion there. And what's it going for? Going for Clamp! That's what we saw take out one of the Lycanroc Midnights in the last round. Oh my goodness, and that's done considerable damage as well. It's going to do damage at the end of each turn as well. And is it enough? It's enough to take out Midday! Dusk have really dominated this one. That was fantastic. So here's your winner, Dusk Lycanroc, really taking its place as the king of the Lycanroc family. That was insane. Let me just say, those battles were incredible. Now let me know in the comments which of these Pokemon forms is your favourite. Is it Midday, Midnight, or Dusk? And of course, let everybody know why you picked this one as the top dog. If you enjoyed this video, of course, hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a video from me. If you would like to support the channel, see your name in the credits of the videos and also see Form Fight before anybody else each time a new episode comes out, consider becoming a Patreon. It costs $1 a month, which is cheaper than the price of a decent pair of underpants. But of course, I will see you next time. Until then, I'm Ace Trainer Liam. Keep on training.